NERDSoul.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all in places. But guess what? You are here on Beats Vibes Life. We are joined with the Hip Hop Council. That's right. And NERDSoul Light, chilling here with a battery that he is not supposed to be holding. Thank you. And right here, PL Parker Lewiz, say what's up.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Your boy Parker P.L. Lewiz in the building. Lewis with a Z. Parker P.L. Lewiz everywhere or .com. Let's get it.
Yeah. And then we got in the diagonal square, Arckatron, Mr. Space Bridge himself.
Yes, y'all. Space Bridge is out right now on all your DSP streaming. What is that? We just saying
digital streaming
platform. Baby.
DSPs. So cop that disc. All right.
That's right.
Space Bridge.
And then lastly, in the creeping through the fog, police in stores now, Anwar HighSign.
That was an entrance.
Yeah, Anwar. Anwar. Mr. HighSign if you're nasty.
All right, so we ain't gonna waste no time. Let's go and jump into it. DJ Akademiks is a friend to many, and to some, he is also an enemy. It seems like he's been picking at the enemy side just once again with a Freddie Gibbs the third.
Frederick.
The Kane train.
Man,
Freddie
Gibbs. You know, DJ Akademiks seemed to voice his dissent for a Mr. Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs is known to not be the biggest fan of Jeezy. And DJ Akademiks didn't seem to take too kindly to that. And expressed how he felt about Freddie Gibbs, saying, you know, you ain't nobody, you ain't did nothing kind of thing, going down that train. And on Twitter, it kind of lit up after Akademiks got on video. Freddie Gibbs started trolling. It got pretty good. And then he kept it going on Instagram, making t-shirts and videos. I wanted to throw it to the Hip Hop Council. If you could, my
I love it though.
How are you feeling?
I love it though.
How are you feeling about the Teletubby butt person?
That was hilarious. Go ahead, HighSign. But that
it was hilarious. Yeah, I mean,
I found it funny.
That was super funny. I mean, you know, Ak is the most hated, probably more hated than Vlad or Adam 20, probably more hated than Vlad and Adam 22 put together. So yeah, I mean, and I understand. And
he has his you know, his fan base. You know, he has.
Yeah, I mean, I've been entertained by things he's done before, but I definitely can understand the argument that he's not a valuable component to this culture, this thing of ours. You know, and yeah, I mean, in that way, the I feel the same way about Vlad though. You know, it's just like you just kind of, you're like a, you know, like you really are like a vulture. Like you just sit and wait and pick at the remains of shit, and you know. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I thought I mean, Freddie Gibbs is a funny dude. Akademiks, it was really funny. It has been really funny to me to see someone actually get under Akademiks' skin. Because he's a guy who, you know, regardless of what you say about the guy, one thing can't say, one thing you can't say is that the guy doesn't, you know, keep his composure until now. You know, like he's usually the guy that people would say all types of crazy things about to his face sometimes. And he'd just be like, oh, okay, cool. That's what's up. Moving on and keep on his path. Like he would always maintain control of himself. He would never get into it with anyone. And so like to see him kind of like get hennied up and go crazy talking about Gibbs and Ben Baller and all this wacky shit stuff. It was like, all right, this is even more hilarious now. You know, he need to stop hanging out with 6ix9ine. The way he's acting right now is the way 6ix9ine would handle it. But
yeah,
I don't think
that energy can't be good what he's getting from that dude.
that energy that he's giving out over the Gibbs situation, I think it's a little more aggressive than a guy of his caliber, street caliber, I guess you would say. Should maybe be with a guy who's really a street dude, it seems. An actual one.
Could I ask that possibly maybe Akademiks has won too many online engagements and has started to feel untouchable. And maybe since he's won so many, he felt, this will be easy. This will be nothing. You know, he's not selling, he's not making money, which technically in these days,
I think he really underestimated Gibbs' popularity though.
Yeah.
I think he underestimated his popularity. Like Gibbs is really popular.
Yeah, true.
Especially as these like last couple records of his come out, like probably since I'd say like this wave of popularity, like how popular he's gotten at this point. I would even shift it a little bit. Like I would say once him and Spitter did that tape, people started to be like
the Fendi tape.
Yeah, Fetty.
Fetty or Fendi? Fetty. You right.
Which is fantastic tape too. Like I love that project.
It really is.
So like once that happened, it seemed like that happened, and then he followed up with Bandana. It was like the next thing he did, I believe. And it was just was
Pinata
like, yo.
Then Bandana. I can't remember.
No, Pinata was like 2016.
Oh, no.
And then it was like, yo, like Gibbs is going crazy out here right now. He just did something with Alchemist, then he did something with Madlib. Then he came back with another Alchemist thing. And it was like, okay, like it seems like this last year or two, like this last 2 years, it's been like a surge for Gibbs. He was already popular. It seems like he just went a little further up.
Yeah.
So I think he super underestimated that, being on some like, you know, some G-Unit era numbers kind of thinking about music and the personalities in it. It's like, yo, fam.
Yeah, because
nobody even is really thinking about numbers like that except people listening to you.
Yeah, because
like you see him like, oh, John Legend did 26,000. It's like, so what are you talking about right now?
Yeah, because nobody's really. People aren't selling like that anymore. It's not that kind of game anymore. Because streaming is not the same. You know what I'm saying? And then since streams can be inflated. You know what I'm saying?
And really the quantification of streaming, like they're still figuring it out. Like how do you quantify a stream? Because the way it's quantified in terms of the numbers that we getting and getting paid from it, it ain't quantified correctly. Because the impact is like, it's like you have your internet impact in terms of like social media. That also can impact other things outside of the streaming and selling your music. You know what I mean? It's more of like, there's a cultural or more of a different kind of component that can't be really quantified yet. You know what I mean? So I feel that also factors in that you can't really maybe Ack wasn't factoring that in. Like, oh, he don't know how many people know Gibbs beyond just the numbers and
why would he?
What he sees.
Because exactly, and why would he? Because he definitely does not really dabble much in that world. Like he's really more of he really seems to pay more attention to like the SoundCloud side of things, you know, like it's all like major artists and like upcoming SoundCloud rappers and things like that he seems to pay attention to. Viral things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Viral hip hop.
word. What's your thoughts on it? On it, PL? What's your
Um,
mind on it? Bless you.
I won't say how I really feel about it.
What?
Because people will say that I'm crazy. So
Just
I
say it.
will
Say it.
Well,
You
now
here with
you
us.
gotta say it.
We the Hip Hop
I
Council.
will
You here with
say-
us?
I will say that it is hilarious. It is hilarious to watch. It is funny. It is pure entertainment. It is hilarious. How fast they had shirts and merch and memes ready to go for them. Like it was, yeah, it's hilarious.
I think it was
Well,
orchestrated.
in
It's not a
In
conspiracy piece.
defense
Sound
of
like
that,
it's orchestrated.
in defense of that concept, when you're up a certain height, you can get people to do things really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you get to a certain level where you got minions, I mean, PL, you have your online minions, people that what I'm saying. When you're at your level and higher, people people will just be like, yo, I'm gonna defend my boy. Let me make this meme real quick. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that. Now that IG video though,
It's hilarious, man.
yo, he had production
That's
value
hilarious.
behind that joint.
Yeah, that one's
He
hilarious.
had production. I mean, it was kind of like rudimentary, but the rudimentary animation was it made it funnier because, yo, I honestly don't think Ack was ready. And yes, I said Ack. I'm gonna give him his nickname props.
95 act.
But I do think he.
What?
I don't think he was ready. I don't think he was prepared. I think he was like, yo, look, I'm the king at this. I troll. And he found out Freddie Gibbs was more 50 Cent than Meek Mill.
Yeah, super real.
Facts.
Yeah.
Super real.
Facts.
Yeah, because your boy's coming with it. But we'll let that go because we know
He should have paid attention because the way Gibbs was going in on LL was hilarious.
Yo, I missed that. I missed what happened with LL.
What?
Thing. I missed that. LL, I saw LL. He dropped like a freestyle. Well, not a freestyle. He dropped a verse about the current condition in the U.S. And all I know is that Freddie Gibbs made fun of him, but I don't know exactly what.
Freddie Gibbs was clowning him, and he was bringing up the song he did with the country guy.
Oh, the one like
accidental racist.
Accidental racist or something.
Yeah. And so he was like, yo, what are you talking about, man? Like, what is this dude talking about? And he just went on LL for like 3-4 days. And he kept like posting the clip. He kept posting clips of the new freestyle where he was like, rhyming. He started rhyming fast. And he was just like clowning him over that. Like, yo, what are you talking about, man? Like, yo, you need to get this guy. And yeah, then he'd bring up, like he would post the new clip. The new clip was dealing with, like all of the racial injustices going on right now. And then he would just like post the old clip where you forget about my gold chains. And now forget about the slave chains or the irons or something weird.
Something like that. Yeah.
It was something really.
Yeah, you've never heard this song before?
Arckatron played it for me. It's the All Lives Matter rap song by LL. Now I remember. It's the biggest. Yo, it's the biggest misstep. No, all right. Let me tell you what kind of a misstep.
It's terrible.
PL, you got to hear the song. It's an All Lives Matter. You like when you talk about missteps. All right, here's the kind of misstep it is. Say you at like, I don't know, the top of the stairs and it's like 80 steps, all right? And you just go, what? And then you just go all the way. That's the misstep. It's not just like a little misstep, like, maybe I should have did this song. No. It's like, especially the way it aged now, it's almost...
The way Gibbs clowned that song, man. If Ack would have seen that, he might have handled it a little different, or maybe not. He might have.
Oh man,
Accidental
Guy
racist.
like
I
Gibbs.
did not think accidental racism was going to get onto the four horsemen over here. I did never think we were going to bring that up. Wow,
accidental racist.
Wow,
Accidental racist.
That's
Oh boy,
interesting.
now, if you can forget my chains, I can forget the Confederate flag or something. It's like no,
Something like that. Something.
It's not the same, buddy.
Yes. And matter of fact, let me jump on this. I'll jump on this and jump off because guys, I do this on lounging. But stop trying to equate the actions of a private citizen or private citizens to the actions sanctioned by a governing body of a nation. It's not the same.
Nope.
It's not. Stop it.
Tell him again.
I'm gonna be the emoji.
Stop it.
Yeah, it's like, stop. Please stop.
I'm like, so it's like, well, what about this? You mean private citizens? It's not the same. But anyway, with that said, that's not the only kerfuffle that came up recently. Mr. Number 3 himself, Chance the Rapper. Chance the Rapper.
Glory be to God, yeah.
Oh man. So Chance the Rapper, he's doing his thing. He's out there in the streets, kicking it, minding his business. And he decided to retweet a image from, I believe, somebody on Instagram or maybe Twitter, but from Erica Hart. And basically a lot of people took it and ran with it, saying that, Chance the Rapper is saying that, black men are Karens. And like the statement goes, white women, black men are the Karens of black people, or something like that. And so the statement goes in the image, it says, white women and black men have it both ways. They can act as oppressor or be oppressed. Black men may have been victimized by racism, but sexism allows them to act as exploiters and oppressors of women. White women may be victimized by sexism, but racism enables them to act as exploiters and oppressors of black people. Both groups have led liberation movements that favor their interests and support the continued oppression of other groups. Black male sexism has undermined struggles to eradicate racism, just as white female racism undermines feminist struggles. As long as these two groups or any group defines liberation as gaining social equality with ruling class white men, they have a vested interest in the continued exploitation and oppression of others. So that's a long statement.
Yep.
That's a lot to deal with. So he puts it out, and people are like, "This is interesting." One, why now? Two, there's a little to pick apart with this statement. But it seems once again that we have what I would consider more division at crucial times that are curious. Just like yesterday, we had the young brother known as Terry Crews. Another divisive and diversionary statement at a very curious time. And a lot of people had a feeling like, yo, all right, man, we feel like you're reaching, because this, once again, kind of perpetuates what we've talked about before a little bit on this show, which is gender wars. Which is like, yeah, gender wars. But gender wars, whenever there becomes a time where you see a lot of black people getting on code, a lot of black people starting to unify, a lot of black people starting to move in one direction, a lot of black people getting their thing and starting to move forward and making changes, here comes a group of people that are like, let's throw some dissension in there. Let's divide this up. And so people rightfully, threw back on him, and he's been, I'd say, largely quiet since. But I'd say before I throw it to you guys, this might play well for kind of his base. What I mean by his base, and his base is, don't get me wrong. Matter of fact, Anwar was in our chat one time talking about
HBCU.
Yes, this plays perfectly to the pseudo-intellectual woke crowd that isn't interested in looking at any nuance inside of this statement or actually forcing him or at least challenging him to expand on this in his own words instead of just retweeting someone else's. But I'll throw it to you guys. I won't go any further. I've been talking for a while, so I'll throw it to you guys. How does this statement, how does him retweeting this statement, how does that hit you as far as like his place in the culture, and then kind of like what this could potentially mean or do with regular people on the ground?
You gotta throw it to somebody.
I said you guys. Any of y'all can
I'll speak up. I think that his statement is.
I said you guys. What do you think you guys means? Now all of a sudden people don't know what you guys means.
I got it. 4-3. We should say one of us starters, at least, because we all talk at once. We don't want that. You know what I mean?
In conversations, people don't need cues to start talking. People
I
understand from now on. But I got it. From now on, I will address each and every one personally. I'll make sure I got
just
you.
saying. Why now?
No, don't turn the
Arckatron trying to break up.
No, we trying to divide.
Don't be
You trying to divide us now. Look at Chance. Look at what Chance is doing. Look at what Chance is doing right now.
Glory be to God. Yeah.
I bet his ex looking back like a pillar of salt. I love that.
That's the only time I heard Chance was on that album.
I love that verse, yo.
Oh boy. Poor
PL, what do you think about it?
Yeah, I'll take it to the bridge.
Take it to the bridge.
I think that his statement has a lot of holes in it.
Wait, his statement or the statement that he retweeted?
The statement that was made has the statement that he retweeted has a lot of holes in it. There's a bit of like, I wouldn't say validity, but there's some points that you can argue within the tweet itself. But for the most part, it's forgetting a whole lot of systemic stuff that happened that doesn't get mentioned. That's a scary comparison to jump to without taking everything into consideration. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's similar to. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, what the statement basically distills down to is men are trash. It's like men are like an.
True though. That's what it basically says.
It's an intellectualized version of men are trash, and I think that kind of thing becomes really divisive, not because men don't need to, like change any behaviors or take any responsibilities for things. But when you're dealing with like this online space, not the social media online space and not the real world, which are two very, very different places, then you get statements like to where, a guy like Chance will retweet it to his audience who probably largely feels the same. And there's this sort of like bitterness to the statement that is sort of like thrown in the hyperdrive because of the vacuum of social media. Just like a lot of times the people who make a statement like that in the way that it was made or actually better to say this, like a statement like that when it's digested by an audience is a lot of times identified with by people who, you know, like had relationships involved and didn't realize they were in any kind of cycle and just kept dating the same person, the same kind of people, and then got bitter because this didn't work out and this didn't work out over here, and you had some friends and that didn't work out over here, and then now you're like, yeah, that's right, you're all this way and everyone's doing this. It's like, no, it's not. It's a little more nuanced than that. Like all of these relations that keep trying to be boiled down to like, you need to do this or do that. It's all so much more. It's never that black and white, you know? And a statement like, I don't know, this statement is like, yeah, I mean, I agree with people. It has holes in it to me. And, you know, it's just one of them kind of things. It's like, all right, where's the accountability?
Thank you.
Because I don't know if where you're coming from is a really neutral place where you're observing the world and the conduct of your community and people that you are seeing in the world, or if you're making that statement based on, you know, a more biased thing that you've experienced personally, you know.
Word, Arckatron?
That article, it was an article you sent us, right?
Yeah, but it shows the image like a little bit.
Yeah, no, I saw his tweet.
Okay.
I saw the retweet. But it said main oppressors. Where did he say that? I was looking like when you sent it, and I'm still trying to figure out where they got that from. Because like main oppressors is saying like we the number one oppressor of black people is black men. That's what he didn't say that, but I'm reading the statement. The statement does have a little. It can be. Yeah, I don't like like that much generalization. With
the way it's
like,
distilled down is it's distilled down to like black men are just as bad as white women, and it's like
that's what I got.
It's like
it's wild.
Which is
like,
why,
that's a wild. That's a wild.
Man.
To compare the two is making it seem like the struggle is the same.
Yeah,
it's making it seem like
wholeheartedly with that, because they still
making it seem like we act in malice exclusively toward black women.
Yeah, and I would
all the time.
I know Chance the Rapper
at all times.
Like, yeah, I know Chance the Rapper watches the show. So Chance, whenever you want to come on the show, feel free. You can expand on your point and delineate exactly what you're speaking about. You know what I'm saying? Because right now you just tweeted a picture and didn't really provide further context. But yes, with the statement, there are holes. My main issue with this is it seems like Chance is referring to a certain type of black person or black man, but doesn't want to name them. Namely, people in his industry. Now, in rap music, especially the people that he matriculates around, there are a lot of entertainers in Hollywood, music, TV, whatever, that may put forth images that are damaging to black women. But I think the problem here is it's placed in generality that falls on mostly the regular everyday black man and woman that aren't doing this. I've traveled a pretty good amount in this nation, and I'm sure you guys are well traveled too. And I've seen tons of black couples, black families all over, whether I was at conventions or churches or concerts or events. I've seen black families together. Black men, black women, kids, everything, it's all good. All across this nation, different cities, and everything's fine. But somehow we still get circled back around to this statement of, well, black men are just trash. Black men are just horrible. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then something is not jiving with what I'm seeing with Black families on the day to day. Now, I know there are examples mostly from
Real
people
life.
with platforms, but yeah, like you said, with real life. In real life, I see tons of Black families just chilling, minding their business, living their life. So that's why I'm like, I need you to expand on your point, because from my experience, what I see is Black families in Virginia, Black families in Philadelphia, in Florida, in Texas, in Georgia, in Arizona, Black families in Tennessee, Black families in minding their business, living their lives, having a good time. And somehow you're able to, with all this evidence, same argument I would make of like, Black men don't raise their kids. I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I've seen tons of Black fathers raising their kids.
Guys,
that's the biggest. Oh, go ahead.
Guys, I gotta go real quick.
All right, cool. PL's out, but we'll holler at him later.
All right, PL.
Love you guys.
Coming back or not?
I'll be back in a bit.
Okay, cool, word. So it seems like there's something that's not jiving there. And when it's not jiving, you kind of put the energy that I think should probably be placed mostly on some men in the entertainment industry, but you're putting that weight on the everyday people in real life and just kind of like letting them deal with it. Also,
but then also,
go ahead.
Quick. That's what I've been saying. You know, the manipulation that occurs on social and that occurs with these platforms, and you have, you know, a person whose feelings are really strong in one way or the other. Like, you really have to look out for spin, because, you know, like, we're looking at this statement and it kind of really fits in with a narrative that's been going on. You know, there are these narratives that kind of come around every couple of years. So now we have bigger fish to fry, you know, outwardly, and all of a sudden, like, there's these people here who are going like, oh no, actually, you know, you are the main oppressors, and then that leaves us to pretty much, or you are just as bad as this oppressor. You know, like, you are. So in that statement, you now have me as a conscious oppressor. You feminized me by characterizing me like a white woman, and you've given me a blanket generalization. So all the guys like us, for instance, like, you're a father, PL's a father, you guys are at your homes with your wives and kids as we speak, as there are plenty of other guys like you mentioned before.
Yep.
But if you were to bring that up, then it's going to be like, then the response you're going to get is like, oh, here goes, there's always one of those, oh, you're the one that's going to, as if you're trying to, you know, like, as if you're trying to destroy the argument, when really you're just trying not to pay for the sins of someone else and someone who doesn't really represent the whole.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Because I do think there's a discussion to be had about the treatment of Black women from Black men in certain spaces on certain platforms.
Right.
Because I don't think your everyday Black man is out there doing these things. But I also know that Dr. Dre still hasn't said anything about D. Barnes in the way of an apology for real. So we do have that. But
I think he did, though.
I remember there was a settlement, but I don't think I might be tripping, but I don't think he ever came out and said, D. Barnes, you know, my bad, I'm sorry.
I have to look it up, but I feel like that did occur.
If he did, I retract that previous statement.
Not at the time, though.
Oh, yeah. But what I'm saying is, in that industry, there is a lot that goes on. You know, you got women being told to bleach their skin, or, you know, they're too dark, or they're too fat, or they're too skinny, or you know. So you do have that going on. But then I'd also contend that we can only, if we are to follow your argument, only play into white patriarchy's oppression if we're then seen as men. And I would contend that even today, we're not seen as men by the main oppressor that this is arguing for. So then we have another issue where I said, Chance, yo, I'd love you to come on this channel and yo, let's expand on that point. Because the whole movement of call me a man and people calling each other, hey man, is because we were being called boy all the time. So I would still contend that we are not seen as men, yet as things that can be cast aside. Right. That's a whole nother thing.
And also in that regard, I don't want to be in contest with my sister.
Yeah, no.
Over who's like, I don't want to go tit for tat about who's at the bottom of the totem pole with you.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think that we're both at the bottom of the totem pole. What I do think is that our struggles are different, but not better than either one. I think that white supremacy uses different agency and arguments to make us believe the grass is greener. Meaning like, oh, black women got it good. Black women got it so good. Or black men got it so good.
Which is the way they always separate. They always separate by... Think about just separate back in the days where it was you were light skinned, you were dark skinned. That's separation. You're better than this one, and that trickled down into the mentality. It's the same thing with just male woman, man woman. It's the same thing. They try to separate and divide, which is why I don't like the J. Cole and No Name thing. I wish they both just talk to each other instead of dividing is the problem. You need to get together. And the struggle is not the same, but it's still a struggle.
That's why I don't like the anger approach to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's like we're still suffering because of our skin.
Instantaneously at odds with each other.
We all have in common.
And then like you have that thing, which again, like going back to the social media space where it's like you have a person like, so Chance puts this up, and then you have to kind of like, you're forced to be a person one way or the other, be a certain type of person, because if you're supposed to agree with that, that's the manipulation of it. Because if you don't, then that means that you're okay with the black woman being oppressed. That means that you're calling her a liar. That means that you know,
have to fully be on board with it, or
it's all or nothing. It's all or nothing. And so it's dangerous when you have statements and ideas with that kind of spin on them. You know, like they are ultimately as divisive as they're really in the same wheelhouse as, you know, these things that we look outwardly and be like, oh, y'all trying to, like, you take all the black men and you put them in dresses. Oh, you take all the black men and you make them be the tough guy in the film that just like
or he always has everything. To be, or it has to be the criminal, or always
he always has to be the criminal. So like, what is really the difference when you turn around and you're saying the same thing he's saying, and I don't want to be your enemy, and you don't want me to be your enemy.
Yeah,
you're angry about a thing, but you're not giving me the benefit of the doubt that you can just talk to me about it and be heard.
Because I think a lot of these cases, similar to there was an article from like Very Smart Bros like a year or two ago talking about black men are the white people of black people, which is the same energy. Kind of like, oh well, straight black men. And the article, the headline itself is just like, here we go. You know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things.
And it's going to be a different thing a couple years from now. Like these types of shifts in like, oh, black men are trash. And now that's morphing into something different. But it's like, it's going to be a different thing. You know, like black women are loud. And that's going to be the zeitgeist of that time. Black men are trash. Black men don't support black women. black women are at the bottom of the totem pole, like then everything's gonna follow these ideas.
Or like another one, which is like there's more black men in jail than in college, which hasn't been true for like over like 10 or 15 years. But of course, you know, since it's an old statistic, let's keep it. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know, like that hasn't been true since I believe the late 90s. I'll have to look it up again, but it hasn't been true for like quite some time. But of course, it's an old stat, so why get rid of it? So it's like these things where when I see these statements, I'm like, okay, this is hip hop, something that we all love and cherish. And I think someone who I believe is conscious.
Who about to say, man?
Is woke.
I'm worried.
Is being more divisive than necessary, especially when he has the tools to fully flesh out his statement. And I think it's almost neglectful and willfully ignorant to leave a statement like that on his face and then allow people to just deal with it. Instead of expanding on your point. Because when I first heard that, I was like, okay, so what do you mean? Like, expand on your point, because this is a high-minded pseudo-intellectual statement of black men are just as bad as white women. And so get down to what you're really saying. Like, I know that on the surface, the headline of the article, but what are you really saying? What have you experienced in your time that would make you say this at least a level of 70% of all black men in America do this? Yeah. You know what? I'll back you down. 65%. And I would contend that is largely false. And if I would contend that's largely false, then we need to at least look at why statements like this exist and why are they so pervasive, especially online, and what can we do to change them. If I know tons of people, I saw people responding to that tweet on some like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I'm like, but I've met your father and y'all are cool. So what?
Where is this energy coming from?
So I'm like, what? But yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's the tragic allyship of that type of thing, is like you feel like you can't be like, no, I don't know if I agree with that entirely.
Yeah, like
because
then, yeah.
You know, you're that guy.
Yeah,
you gotta be 100%.
Or, you know, yeah,
no
or like, or there might be like women that are happily married, just chilling, and they're like, yeah, and it's like, but you're good. You're married to a black guy, and everything's fine. What are you doing?
Maybe they start speaking for their girlfriends or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah, but then that's what I'm saying. Like, where's the responsibility for that person? You know, because like I've been in relationships, for instance, where I wasn't treated well, or the relationship had a certain outcome, and I had to go, okay, I'm in a cycle that I need to break. Same thing for whatever in your life, where you're like, okay, is it existential or not? If it's existential, that's one thing. Is it something that I'm gravitating to? And a lot of times, you know, like Men Are Trash is based on some nonsense where, you know, like it's some nonsense where it didn't have to be that way, you know, because these people are not for real. I mean, this is an opinion statement, but for real, I don't think a lot of people who make these statements are really speaking for people who are going through the real shit. They're speaking for like, oh, you know, like my boyfriends keep cheating on me. It's not speaking for the person that was in the workplace, the woman who was in the workplace, or was unappreciated in her life by strangers and family, or like people who that statement really qualifies for. I don't think that they're the ones making they're not making the statement in that way. they're maybe saying it, but it's tempered with a whole world of different experience than this kind of statement.
What you got, PL?
Yeah, what you got, PL? Close us out.
I was just gonna say, just to chime in, man. It's really it doesn't help being divisive. It really doesn't help the cause. It really doesn't help the struggle. It really doesn't help anything. It doesn't help our plight. It doesn't help anything. I think that unity between the black man and the black woman can be achieved. I think that there are a lot of outside circumstances, or a lot of outside forces, I should say, that don't want that, and therefore mislead us from both sides and cause us to be as divisive as we are. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely outside forces definitely in play that are
What up?
And I don't think Chance is helping by feeding into the outside. I don't think he helped by doing this. I'm just saying. If he explained himself, it's different. Yeah. But him just posting it out there and like, bye y'all. I think that's not a good way to have a conversation. That's not a good way to have a conversation.
All right. Well, with that said, guys, thanks for rolling through. I'm gonna start from the bottom square. PL, Parker Lewiz, say peace.
Peace to the good folks. Parker PL Lewiz with a Z. You can find me everywhere.com too. New album from Dog to God 3 on August 7th. It features everybody here. Mike, I think I got something for you. I have an idea. I'm trying to get so we can get everybody involved on this thing. Yeah, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me, y'all. Love y'all.
Yeah, too, man.
Arckatron, or right here.
It's Arckatron at Arckatron.com. Space Bridges and all your streaming platforms all over the world except Tidal. I'm still working on that. You mean Jay-Z? He didn't give me the call back, so I'm still working on that.
You need me to hit Jay for you? I got the Brooklyn link.
Yeah, hit Jay for me. Hit Jay on the phone.
Jay.
Say no more.
Hit Jay on the phone.
Say no more. Say no more.
Word up. And then, of course, Fleece and Stores. You know what I'm saying? The one, the only.
Yes, sir. Peace. Fleeces and Stores right now. We're working on the next one. I'll be back with you real soon with that. ANWAR and Hi and Sign. And check me out on Spotify, something like that, man. Follow me, man. Rate, comment, and do all the good stuff for all of the good brothers and sisters.
NEID, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all them places. Spotify for music, podcasts for them sounds. Of course, YouTube is the main place. Subscribe, hit that thumbs up, hit that thumbs down. But if you hit that thumbs down, I'm gonna send Eminem after you. And he ain't happy. So guys, thanks for watching. Of course, from us to you. Until next time, we're just saying, ready? Peace. Peace. Yeah.